Okay, everyone, welcome back. It's good to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, last week we began Orot, a selected piece in Orot HaTeshuva, where we spoke about how you have to get to know yourself, and how when you get to know yourself, that is how you get to know Hashem, and that you can't spiritual bypass, you can't skip a step of knowing yourself and learning about yourself, learning about your inner world. And that is the very first step. And this is already different than so many ways we're used to learning about Teshuva. Because we're often used to learning about Teshuva as something that is guilt-induced, something that's fear-based, something that is you have to put more pressure on yourself, you have to take more on, you have to make hachlatos, you have to do all sorts of intense sigufim, you know, what's brought in the early Sifrei Musar, Shari Tshuva, Orot HaTeshuva, different Svarim that talk about that. And Rav Kook really comes along, and he really reframes this whole Tshuva thing for us, you know. And Rav Kook is going to say, in this piece, we're going to be learning Perek Hey, the first letter, that Tshuva is somewhat about paring down. It's not about taking on more, per se, but in this piece he's going to explain it's about coming to our natural selves, that our souls are always screaming Tshuva, and that Tshuva is the most natural part of ourselves, and a healthy soul is a soul that's always self-reflecting, it's a soul that's always looking deeper, and that the most natural part of who we are is the neshama, and that is a healthy neshama is full of tshuva. It's full of desires for tshuva. It's full of longings for tshuva. And it's not about ramping it up, but it's about paring it down, returning to the clean, simple, pristine essence of our existence. It's not about doing sigufim and making things harder, but it's about removing all the impediments. It's about removing, kind of, he says over here, like vomiting up, exuding. We're going to see like the bad stuff, the negative traits. And just to preempt this, I once heard on a Rav Shlomo Carlebach tape, I don't know if he was talking about this piece specifically, or there are other pieces that are similar to this throughout the Sefer, and he says something in Rav Shlomo's way, he's like, I don't mean to be crass, you know, but he said, imagine a person goes to the bathroom. Would you ever want that back inside of you? You know? Of course not, because it's not really a part of you, it's disgusting. So he says the same thing, we're going to see, that like letting go of everything, not controlling or doing more. It's about letting go of those parts of ourselves and returning to exactly who we are. You would never want that back inside of you, it's just gross, right? It's not actually a part of you. So tshuva is going to be to the restoration of the health of the neshama. Amazing. It's amazing. And Rav Shlomo's way, how he would say it. Okay. Hatshuva hi hargasha hayoter bria shel hanefesh. Welcome, Mike. Just getting started. Hatshuva hi hargasha hayoter bria shel hanefesh. Tshuva is the most healthy feeling of the soul. Hayoter bria. It is the most healthy expression of the soul. Meaning to say, again, like we're saying, it's natural. It's our deeper nature, right? I once saw in another place, I actually tried finding it for this year, I couldn't find it, but Rav Kook says, the neshama is always singing, regardless of whether we realize it or not. The soul is always singing, you know? So Tshuva hi hargasha yoter bria shel hanefesh. Tshuva is the most healthy feeling of the soul, of the nefesh. Neshama bria beguf bari. A healthy soul with a healthy body, muchrachat hi lavo lidei ha'osher hagadol shel tshuva. You have a healthy soul with a healthy body, right? Orot and Kalim it will definitely bring about the richness of the greatest of tshuva. V'hi margeshet ba es ha'oneg hatavi hayoter gadol, and it feels its oneg hativi, its natural pleasure hayoter gadol, that is really big, right? So again, he's talking about that the healthy soul is the soul of tshuva. It's the most natural state of who we are, right? We're not our psychology, we're our soul, right? We say we're not our thoughts and our feelings, we're something much greater, right? But we relate so much to our cognitive abilities, we think I'm just my thinking, that's all I am, right? But he's saying that tshuva is the most natural state of the soul, the most natural thing, a healthy thing. When you pare down and you let go of all that, so now your deeper nature starts to rise to the surface. So just give a metaphor for this. It's like I once heard a metaphor from Dr. Bill Pettit, if you know this one. So he says, like, let's say there was a scuba diver. Let's say there was a guy with a snorkel on the water, right? And he puts on lead weights. So what does that do? That sinks him all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. And now the snorkel water he's breathing in is actual water. It's not fresh air. But when you let go of those lead weights that's on the snorkeler, what happens? He floats naturally back up to the top. Well, I skipped a part of the metaphor. He's wearing a flotation device, and then they put the lead weights on him, right? And when you let go of those lead weights, he floats naturally back up to fresh air. So Rav Kook is saying that tshuva is the natural, most enjoyable, pleasurable part of who we are. It's our deeper nature. It's our neshama. And when we pare down to its most natural, basic state, when we let go of everything, right, all that extraneous cognitive thing that we're doing, so we float right back up to the top to the fresh air, because all of us have our deeper nature, all of us has the soul. It's very natural. Plitat hachamarim hamazikin, the removal of the physicality hamazikin that destroys, or chamarim over here can mean like soot. Po'elet pu'ulasa hatova umavriya begvia kishehi shlema betchunato. So the removal, the pleta, like we say, like the way, like something is polate in kashrus, it like exudes, like from the pan. It like exudes is the word, right? So like the exusion of the physical sediment that hamazikin that causes us worry, anxiety, damage, wounds. Po'elet pu'ulasa hatova. It when you remove these things, right, it does a good, it works its magic, it does good. Hamavriya begvia kishehi shlema betchunaso, that brings healthiness to the body when it's perfectly full. The haraka haruchnius shel kol ma'aseh ra, and the vomiting, the emptying out of the spiritual spiritual maladies, of bad spiritual deeds, the kol harishumim ra'in hamilkol kalam haba mimenu, and all its negative impressions that it has upon us, shall kol machshava ra, of every bad thought that we have, v'shal kol richuk ma'atochen hatzili ha'elohi bechlal, and with distancing ourselves from any inner content of refinement and divinity, shehu yisod lekol hara, and when we distance ourselves from that, all ra, it's the foundation for all negativity. L'chol gasus, with all haughtiness, v'chiur, and ugliness. Muchrachas hi lavo, it definitely will come. I'll put the sentence together when I finish it. It's like a long run-on sentence. Kesha organ bari mitzado haruchni v'gashmi yachdav. That all those things will definitely leave and exude and fall by the wayside when the body and the organism, when the organism is healthy from its own spiritual and physical aspects coming together. Meaning to say, when we let go of all the ra, and when we work through the negative thinking and all the bad thoughts and everything that we're having, right? So then health now comes back into the system. Health now comes flushed, right? You flush that, and all the health now, all that fresh water comes circling back into our systems, right? So like tshuva is our most natural pared down essence to who we actually are, right? And when we let go of all that, or we work through whatever language you want to use, that the innate wisdom comes back into the system, it comes back to who we are, our deeper nature begins to show. And that happens when we have a healthy body and a healthy soul. You have proper Orot and Kalim, you have proper lights and vessels merging together, right? Like a sick, right? Rav Kook talks about this in the first piece in Orot HaTeshuva. One of the things that he opens up with, I didn't photocopy, I'm just going to mention it in passing. The title is Hatshuva Tvi'it Hagufanit. No, that's not the first piece. Hold on. he talks about the physical tshuva. Rav Kook says in the first parak in Orot HaTeshuva, he talks about tshuvat gufit, right? That physical tshuva, right? Like having a healthy body, right? You're run down, your body's physically tired, you're unhealthy, you're not taking care of yourself, so now you have a weak soul, right? The soul doesn't have a proper keli, vessel, in order to enter, that it's strong to do mitzvahs, to do with alacrity. Instead, you're filled with lethargy and tiredness. And I don't want to go to minyan, I don't want to tired, right? But a strong body, a strong soul. So when you have a strong body, you have proper vessels, kelim, in order for the soul to now fully express itself in an amazing, lofty way, right? Can you imagine David HaMelech on the battlefield? He's like, is he wheezing? No, he was strong, right? He was strong. He was going to war. He was a healthy individual, right? So when we pare down, our most natural state of our soul is one of tshuva, and we have a healthy body come together with a healthy soul. That's like an amazing, that's the synergy. You know, that's the achdus of it. That's the yichud of the body and soul. And the tshuva part of it, as he's saying, is exuding, pleitat, haraka, emptying out all the bad things that we have inside of us. And then we float back to the top, like the metaphor of the person in the snorkel. You know, come straight back to who we are. It's amazing so far. It's amazing. It's a total reframe of so many of the things that we're used to hearing about tshuva. You know, doing more, taking on more, being harder on yourself, like really, you know, sometimes it could fall into self-abuse, like you're ripping yourself like every second because you think that's tshuva. No, that's like the shame paradigm, right? You don't have to rip yourself and dig into yourself deeper in that way. No, it's self-abuse. You're further abusing yourself, right? But tshuva is reparative, it's restorative, it's regenerative. It's something that makes us healthy and feel stronger afterwards, not more weak and more despondent and more harder, right? If it leaves you feeling more weak and chalash afterwards, so that's not it, right? It makes you feel more mechuzak, more stronger. Amazing, right? Okay, next piece. So this is, you have it over here. I didn't write it in the thing, but for those that are onlooking, it's Perek Vav, the next Perek in Orot HaTeshuva, lesson bet, base. Okay? He's going to say something similar, but again, with Rav Kook, there's so many different, it's so dynamic, everything that he said, you know? There's so many different angles to see this. He's going to take it, you know, to a cosmic level. Like we ended last week talking about how Mashiach comes when we do tshuva, and that brings the geula. So there's a cosmic element to tshuva, you know? Letter base. HaTeshuva hi tamid sharui belev. Tshuva is constantly sharuya belev. It's residing and resting in the heart, right? Like we just saw, like tshuva is the most natural part of who we are, right? It's returning to our natural selves. So he's starting, tshuva is tamid sharuya belev. It's constantly there in the heart. Tshuva is there. Afilu be'et hachet atzmo. Even at the time when you sin, even at the moment you do a sin, there's still tshuva in the heart, right? It's like the Tomer Devora. One of the things that he writes about is Melech Aluv, right? The embarrassed king, right? So like even while we're sinning, Hashem is still keeping us alive, you know? And he faces that, right? It's like the Melech Aluv. So it's like tshuva's there. It's always there. It doesn't like disappear, you know? Tshuva is even while you're sinning, right? That's how the word chet comes from the word machtia. Means to miss the target, like an archer. An archer shoots, and then he misses it. That's called to be machtia, you know? So the word chet is, it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. Or as one of my friends said, you know, again, don't take this in the wrong direction, but he said, in every chet means a sin, but in every chet there's an aleph. There's a little bit of Hashem in there, you know? And because Hashem is still with you while you're doing an Aveira. You know, okay, we missed the target, came out this way, came out that way. You know, it came out in dysfunctional ways. But it's Hashem behind the scenes. So tshuva is something that is, even at the time that you're doing a sin, tshuva is still there. HaTeshuva genuzahi b'neshama. Tshuva is hidden away in the soul. V'hi sholachat et kavia. And it sends you its rays. Shehei mitgalim achar kach be'et sheba hanuchim hakari l'tshuva. That comes out afterwards in order to comfort you that you should call out to do tshuva. So what happens? Someone does an aveira, they look at something they're not supposed to, and they or they do something they're not supposed to, and they feel filled with shame afterwards, right? But what he's saying is that that is part and parcel, right? There's a healthy shame that is part and parcel with doing tshuva, right? So a person feels, why did I do that? That itself is tshuva, right? Because we know a healthiest tshuva is tshuva, right? As we mentioned, Rav Kook writes in the beginning, on one hand, it's so easy. A healthiest tshuva is considered tshuva. Just a thought, right? Why did I do that? Right? That's tshuva. On the other hand, it's such a big, lofty thing. It's very hard to do, right? So a person does something and now they feel, why did I do that, right? So that itself is tshuva. That is the soul sending you rays of hope and tshuva, right? And what happens is for some people, though, they drown it out. They say, because that's the toxic shame of it. Terrible, evil person, right? And they feel weaker about it, and the shame cycle just spins them down, erodes away at the healthiness of their character, right? So what happens is that, no, you have to take a look at it. You say, okay, yeah, the fact that I feel bad about this afterwards is a sign of tshuva, not a sign that I'm a loser, So the soul is sending you this. So it's like the Baal Shem Tov says, every day there's a baskol that comes out, the Gemara says, from Chorev, that says, Shuvu banim shovim, and return my children. So if you had to hear her tshuva, he says, the question is, I don't hear baskol, do you hear the baskol, right? So everyone knows, if you had to hear her tshuva, that means you heard the baskol coming out, right? So it's the soul is always sending us, wake up, Sussman, tshuva, And when you do the chait, it's like, okay, so that's tshuva. Ba'omek hayavaya shel chayim hamitziyusa munachas tshuva. At the depths of all existence and life, hamitziyatim menuchat hatshuva, rests on tshuva. Now it's the cosmic level. Mipnei shehi kadmel olam. Why? Because tshuva preceded the world. V'terem shaba hachet kvar muchanat hatshuva mimenu. And even prior to the person doing an aveira, tshuva was already prepared, right? So tshuva comes before the world. The world is built after tshuva, right? So even when a person does a chet, the potential and ability for tshuva is there even before you do the aveira. The tikkun is there. It's like we say the remedy is there, right? The refu is there, kodem amaka. The healing is there prior to the thing, right? Because tshuva precedes the world. So the tikkun for that also is there after you did it. The tikkun for whatever you did is there prior to doing it. Right? So even prior to a person doing the aveira, because tshuva pre-exists the world, predates the world, right? The fixing of that, the tshuva, the returning, the restoration of that is there. Al kain ein davar batuach ba'olam kamo tshuva. Therefore, there's nothing more reliable and trustworthy in the world than the ability to rectify. V'sof hakol lashuv l'tikkun. And at the end of the day, the sof hakol, everything returns to its tikkun. Everything gets fixed. The kal v'chomer, right? Everything, right? And this is classic Rav Kook. The whole world is always developing and working towards geula, working towards tshuva, right? Geula is tshuva, the world returning towards most natural state of divinity, So everything, in the end of the day, netzach yisrael lo yishaker, every dysfunction, every malady, everything is only going one place, tshuva. It's all returning. Right? Everything's going to have a tikkun. The worst aveiros a person does, there'll be a tikkun. The most difficult relationship dysfunction, there'll be a tikkun. Right? The kal v'chomer she Yisrael muftachim v'omdim lasos tshuva. And for sure, kal v'chomer, if that's the whole world, even more so, Yisrael, they're standing, that they're definitely on the precipice of tshuva. They're going to do tshuva liskarav el ratzon hamakori shelahem. That Am Yisrael, right? There's the personal, there's the world, and then there's the national, right? That liskarav, that Am Yisrael will ultimately return to their source of Hashem. Lahagshim b'chaim es teva nishmatam, to make hagshama, to make physical the natural state of their soul, right? We have Am Yisrael has nishmas Yisrael, the neshama hakoleles. So of course we're going to return to this place of health and not the place of division. It will be hagshama, it will come out in physicality. Limros, kol kirot habarzel ha'otzrim, to teach us that all the walls of iron that block us, hachotzitzin, that are impediments, Ba'ad hitgaluto shel teva esan zeh. All these things will come down, and the real nature, the strong nature of tshuva, of the soul, will come out and be fully expressed in Am Yisrael, right? So we have all the levels. We have the individual, everything will be metaken. We have Am Yisrael, of course, that is the most powerful soul, who will come to its tikkun. And then we have all of humanity and all of existence and everything in the creation will come to its tikkun. That there's no such thing as something not coming to its tikkun, right? So like I love this line over here. He says, V'sof hakol lashuv v'tikkun, right? V'sof hakol lashuv v'tikkun. In the end, everything, like, we don't have to worry so much about all these things, like in the end, everything's going to work out, like, yeah, I was comforting myself, everything's going to work out. But here, Rav Kook says that everything is going to be fixed. There's a tikkun for everything. Like Rabbi Nachman's tikkun aklali, right? There's a tikkun for everything. Everything could be fixed, right? All dysfunctions, all pathologies, all spiritual maladies, everything is going to work out in the end. If we get in the way and we start, okay, I got to fix this, okay, I got to fix this, right? And Rav Kook is saying what we're learning is, no, you have to pare down. It's a model of subtraction. Think less and go with emunah. Because the whole world is elevating towards tshuva. The whole world is elevating, is screaming out tshuva. And that's the most healthy state. Like, we know when we're in battle and we feel angst and anxiety, like, it's not really who we are, right? But we're trying to figure things out and work things out, and we go into survival mode, and we fall into defense mechanisms, and we try protecting ourselves from here, we try manipulating this and controlling that, like as if we really have control over anything, right? And that we think our way out of our natural well-being. We think our way out of our natural health, right? And that's what Rav Kook, we started to say that, like, Rav Kook is saying, no, it's the restoration of all, it's the letting go of all this, it's the exuding, the pleitat, and the emptying out of all these things, like the person in the snorkel that just rises to the top. Like, we're not all deep down messed up, we're all deep down healthy, right? Which is a complete reversal of paradigm, because we're used to thinking like, I'm basically messed up and have to work really hard to be healthy, right? And my kids are basically messed up and have to work really hard at them, that they should become healthy. But Rav Kook is teaching the opposite paradigm. No, everyone's actually healthy. And it's unhealthy to be complicated. And it's healthy to be simple. Our most natural state of who we are is one of well-being, resilience, and health. Isn't that amazing? Because that's the soul. The soul is naturally healthy, right? It's amazing. It's like a cosmic thing. And everything is going to return, because that's the natural, most healthy state of the world, because tshuva is kadma la'olam, right? Tshuva precedes the world. So there's obviously a fixing and a plan for everything, right? So what we think that what we perceive as kilkul and destruction and dysfunction, Rav Kook is saying, no, there's an answer for that also, right? It's all going to come, everything in the world is going to come back into the fold. Amazing? Okay, now check this out. Now, I didn't photocopy this for everyone, although I could have, but I didn't. I'm going to read a piece or two of selected from, this is actually a translation of Chadarav, Rav Kook's, one of Rav Kook's diaries. I know everything is like, oh, this was Rav Kook's diaries, this was taken from his diaries, this is also, however it works out. I'm not going to go and explain how every last thing was made, but this is called Rav Kook's diaries, not like the Shmona Kvatzim, which were also called his diaries, right? So this was taken from him, where he writes about his inner world over here. So I want to just read inside a piece or two over here. Let's see. Okay. Just find the piece that I was looking for. Okay, we'll just read a piece or two from here, okay? Hineni mechapes tamid masha betoch nishmati. Right? Rav Kook says about himself, I am constantly searching for that which is in my soul. And the outer servitude, it distracts me from my inner search. To seek all the way at the ends of the earth, es hasher lo yimatzeh ba'amke nafshi. Right? That which is not found in my soul. Meaning to say, Rav Kook is saying that, like, he's constantly wants to search what's inside of himself, what's in his soul, but all his life distractions and obligations stop him. And that distracts him from taking him to the end of the earth instead of looking within himself, doing the thing that he wants to do. It's like the cosmic joke is Hashem put all the answers in the last place you look, within. I'll look to be distracted to the end of the earth, finding eitzahs and this and that, and I won't look at the thing that's right under my nose, myself. Right? Like we learned last week, learning about yourself and going inwards and looking for your inner wisdom and the healthiness inside yourself, right? And your own intuition and your own insights that are coming, right? So it's amazing how he writes this, like, because he was a posek, he was busy. He's like, all I want to do is look inward. I'm so distracted by everything, right? So I find a lot of validation in that, Because if that's Rav Kook, it's certainly me, Okay, another piece. Eich omer dvarim la'acherim. How can I say things to other people? Im lo amar davar lenafshi. If I don't say things to myself, to my own soul, if I don't speak to my own soul. Eich esadea ha'olam haruchani v'hachamri. How can I give knowledge or wisdom and in the world, ha'olam haruchani v'hachamri, in the spiritual and physical realm? Im ela otros hakumusim b'kirbi lo vakesh lahem mafteach. If the inner spiritual riches that are inside myself, I do not search out and look for the key. Right? If I don't look for my own inner key, how can I go ahead and teach spiritual and physical things to the world? You see how real and authentic he was with himself. Se'u sha'arum roshechem. Lift up the gates of your heads. Omer el chedri hanafshi. I will say to my inner chambers of my soul, el lelbi, to my heart, ve'el kliyasi, and to my kidneys. Right? So see, Rav Kook is engaged in this process of looking deeper in himself and expressing that. And he's wondering, how can I be real and authentic? I just want to look inwards and I'm distracted. How can I tell things to other people if I don't unlock the keys to my own wisdom? Right? That's a healthy soul. A healthy soul. Right? He says over here, okay. I mean, there's so many amazing pieces in this. It's like hard to just choose. You could just read this straight, right? Ani roa olam male shel neshamos yishanot. I see the world filled with old souls. Neshamot shebeguf, souls with a body. Neshamot sheshomrei haguf mitchazim behem, souls where sheshomrei haguf, the things that protect the body, are like the sediment of the body. They're stuck onto him. They grab onto him. She'ein lahem hama'uf hagamor. They don't have the ability to fly. Hatisa el yonah, to elevate themselves. I see these souls that are weighed down, these old souls that are weighed down by the body, right? That they can't fly and they can't soar in the way that they want to. Shema'al kol se'er ve'aguf memshala muchetet al aguf v'al kol arche aguf, right? And that the rule, they can't break out of this oppression of the body. The souls can't break out of the oppression of the body. Ve'oso ha'oser hagadol malei neshamo shebeguf muchracha sheyichle, right? And that amazing otar gadol imali neshamos, right? And these souls that are weighed down by their body, it's definitely like shebeguf muchracha sheyichle, like they definitely want to soar, but again, the body can't contain it, so it just gets weighed down, becomes this paradoxical thing. So just to highlight over here, like, what does Rav Kook say? He says, I see the world filled with souls, right? But the body's weighing it down, right? Our mental cognition is weighing it down, right? Our sadness, the lethargy is weighing down the soul, So it's like, we need to see ourselves as souls, right? Like, I want to unlock my soul, right? We all want to unlock our soul. And that's what Rav Kook was saying in the earlier piece that we saw, like, even while we're doing the chet, it's sending us these rays of hope, right? Like, could you imagine being on the level of Rav Kook, like, seeing the world as souls? Show you another piece over here. Roe ani neshamos b'gdulason uvkanusan. Right? I see souls. Right? I see souls. Right? Just say I see souls. Right? Stop there. Full stop. I see souls. Old souls, new souls. I see souls. Right? The soul seer. Right? Roe ani nishmos b'gdulason uvkanusan. I see souls in their greatness and in their smallness. Eichem omdes b'mlo tzivionam. How they're standing full of radiance. Maleit or filled with light. Behod v'yifat olamim. With splendor and the beauty. Yifat with an ayin. With the, right? Yeah. Rav Kook always uses that word yifat with pei ayin tough. He says when the word yifat has an ayin to it, it means klali. It's for like a landscape is beautiful. It means a general beauty, not just a specific beauty. There you go. Fascinating, right? The hod yifat olamim, right? We have the yifat in the audience. My wife. The hod yifat olamim, right? With the beauty of all the worlds. And how these souls, they seem dim and darkened and saddened, nugot v'chulushot and weakened, and how, and what else does he see? How through doing kindness, the ha'aras ha'chesed elyon, from Hashem's kindness, shakol hagod of other, how these souls, these low souls, get illuminated with light. Hamit orot al yidei tfilat yisharim, that gets aroused through the prayer of the straight ones. Hamamalei kol ha'olam tal chayim ubracha, that fill the world with the dew of life and blessing. V'im ani medaber, and if I say dvarim elyonim, I speak very high things. Upachad over al kol atzmosai, and fear begins to pass over all my bones. Lo ebahel, I will not become like shocked by it. I will not become confused by it. Ki eda ki Hashem li, because I know Hashem is with me. Ma yaseh basar li, what will my flesh do to me? What will my physicality, my skin do to me? Right? So Rav Kook is saying, he's just driving home, this is not just a theoretical teaching of the soul is healthy and a psychological thing of how we have to return to our deeper nature, right? But Rav Kook, he saw this in us. So obviously the one who teaches us this is the one who went beyond this level. Like I once heard on a Rabbi Rosenfeld tape, he was talking about Rabbi Nachman, that Rabbi Nachman, when he starts a lesson, he says, da. He says, no. So it's accepted that when Rabbi Nachman starts a lesson that says, da, it comes from beyond the world of Atzilus. Right? He's saying something very high. So Rabbi Rosenfeld says in a tape, he goes, obviously the one who revealed it from the world of Atzilus went beyond and above that world in order to broadcast it to us. There's no nonsense way, right? So obviously, Rav Kook, who's revealing to us the secrets of the soul and how everything has a tikkun and how teshuva predates the world, right? He's the one who went beyond that and saw that and was the seer of souls in order to teach us that our souls are healthy and that there's a tikkun to everything. And you see in his own inner world how much he saw that, how much he wrestled with that, how much he saw the neshamas. And he said, and even if I'm speaking about high things, like, oh, I shouldn't be talking about this, he's like, no, I know Hashem is with me. I know Hashem is with me. I will not be scared, right, to stare at it in the face. So even if we find ourselves doing averis all day long, even if we find ourselves doing all different sorts of things, no, yesh tikkun, there's a tikkun for everything, and that even when you're messing up, you're still good. You're still healthy. We still have that inside of ourselves. Thank you.